The night sky above the outpost was quiet, filled with stars that looked brighter than lamps on old Earth streets. The small human settlement was built at the edge of a wide forest on a distant planet. Tall trees reached toward the sky, their leaves glowing faintly as if they stored starlight. Machines hummed softly in the distance, keeping the outpost alive with power and light. Most workers were asleep, but one man remained busy in the workshop near the landing pads. His name was Aaron. He was not a soldier or a scientist but a mechanic. He fixed broken machines, adjusted engines, and kept the power lines working. The others often said that without Aaron the outpost would stop running in a single week. He had grease on his hands more often than not, but he carried a quiet smile when working. His tools were simple, his work honest, and he liked the life he had built far from Earth. That night Aaron worked on a power relay. Sparks jumped from the wires when he touched them, and he muttered to himself about poor design. The air was warm but carried a gentle wind from the trees. Suddenly, he stopped. Something unusual reached his ears. At first, it sounded like a whistle, then a cry. He thought it might be a bird of this strange world, but the sound carried a weight that made his chest tighten. It was not just a sound, it was a call of distress. Aaron stood up and listened carefully. The cry came again, louder, from the forest edge. He set his tools aside and wiped his hands on his shirt. Though he was tired, curiosity pulled him forward. He took a small lamp and stepped past the fence into the dark trees. The forest was alive with faint lights glowing from leaves and insects. The ground was soft under his boots. The cry came again, guiding him deeper. He felt both nervous and alert, for the forest was not fully explored by the outpost team. Strange creatures lived there, and no one knew if they were friendly or dangerous. Still, Aaron moved on. His heart beat fast, but his steps did not slow. Soon he reached a small clearing where the glow of the lamp met a brighter shimmer. There, curled in the grass, was a creature unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. It was small, not much larger than a human child, but its body was covered with scales that reflected the light in many colors. Its eyes were wide and wet, shining with fear. Tiny sparks escaped its mouth when it cried again. The air warmed slightly each time it released those sparks. Aaron froze. He had seen pictures of wild animals from this world, but none looked like this. The creature's long tail curled around itself, wings pressed tight to its sides as if it had never used them. Aaron guessed at once what it might be. Some traders spoke of dragons living deep in these forests, powerful and untamed. If that was true, then this was no ordinary animal. This was a baby dragon. The baby moved restlessly, clawing at the grass. Its cries filled the clearing with sharp echoes. Aaron could see it was not threatening him, only scared and lost. He felt a strange pull in his chest, the same feeling he once had when he helped calm children back on Earth who missed their parents. It was fear, yes, but also a plea for comfort. Aaron knew he had to act carefully. Running away might make the creature panic more. Moving too quickly might make it think he was a threat. So he lowered himself slowly to the ground and placed the lamp beside him. His movements were calm, steady, showing he meant no harm. The baby turned its head toward him, sparks fading for a moment. Its breathing was sharp and quick, but its eyes fixed on the strange human who sat so near. The mechanic sat quietly for a long time. The forest whispered around him, leaves swaying with the wind, insects buzzing in the night. Aaron studied the creature, noting the gentle tremble in its wings. It looked exhausted but unwilling to close its eyes. He felt sympathy rising inside him. Machines could be repaired with tools and wires, but how could he repair the fear of a lost young dragon? He thought of leaving to call others, but he worried what they might do. Many in the outpost feared wild creatures. They might see only danger where Aaron now saw life that needed help. His mind wrestled with choices, yet his heart told him to stay. In that quiet clearing, under the starlight sky, the life of a human mechanic and a restless alien baby dragon crossed paths for the first time. Neither fully understood the other, but both knew they were no longer alone. Aaron stayed seated on the soft ground, watching the small dragon carefully. The lamp beside him cast a golden glow that mixed with the creature's shimmering scales. Every movement of the young dragon caught the light, making it look like a living jewel in the night. Yet there was nothing calm about it. Its chest rose and fell quickly, and its small claws dug into the earth as if trying to hold on to something that was not there. The mechanic felt his throat dry. He had worked with engines, generators, and circuits all his life, but this was no machine. This was a living being that felt fear, confusion, and loneliness. Aaron knew he had to be careful. A wrong step could frighten it more, and frightened creatures could be dangerous even when small. The baby dragon released another cry. This time, it was louder and sharper. Sparks escaped its mouth, lighting the air for a brief moment. The flames did not last long, but they showed that the creature carried a hidden power, even in its young form. Aaron leaned back slightly, making sure the dragon saw he was not trying to harm it. He raised both hands slowly, palms open, a simple human gesture of peace. He spoke in a calm voice, though he knew the dragon could not understand his words. "It is all right. You are safe. I will not hurt you." The dragon tilted its head as if trying to read his intent. Its glowing eyes blinked once, then twice, but the restless movements did not stop. The tail flicked across the ground, wings shifted, and another small flame puffed into the air. Aaron could feel the heat from where he sat. His instincts told him to be afraid, but something deeper told him to stay. The cries reminded Aaron of children on Earth. When he was younger, he often fixed machines in the local town, and sometimes children would come running to him when they broke their toys. They would cry in the same way, loud and desperate, until someone showed them care. The memory made him soften his expression. Perhaps this creature needed comfort, not distance. Aaron looked around, wondering if there was anything he could use. He had no food with him, no blanket, nothing that could be of use to a restless child, alien or not. His hand brushed against the strap across his shoulder, and he remembered what he had left in his workshop. The guitar. He always kept it nearby, a piece of home from Earth. He often played it at night when work was done. The sound of its strings always calmed his own restless mind. A thought came to him quickly: what if music could calm the creature too? But the guitar was not here. It was back near the relay where he had been working. The mechanic took a slow breath. Leaving the dragon alone might make it wander off or grow more afraid, yet staying here without trying anything would not solve the problem either. Aaron decided he would move carefully and hope the creature would wait. He rose to his feet slowly, keeping his eyes on the dragon. The baby hissed softly, small flames dancing around its mouth, but Aaron raised his hands again in peace. He stepped back toward the path leading out of the forest, speaking softly all the while. "I will be right back. Do not be afraid. I will return." The dragon's eyes followed him, its body tense but unmoving. Aaron did not run. He walked at a steady pace until he reached the edge of the clearing. Then he turned, saw the dragon still curled in the grass, and quickly moved toward his workshop. His boots struck the dirt path in rhythm with his heart, which beat faster with each step. The forest seemed darker now, and every sound made him worry that he would lose his chance to help. When he reached the workshop, he wasted no time. His tools lay scattered on the ground where he had left them, sparks still flickering from the unfinished relay. But he ignored all of it. He bent down and picked up the worn guitar resting against the wall. Its wood was scratched, its strings stretched from years of use, but it still held a voice. Aaron carried it gently, as though it were more than an instrument. Tonight it would be his way to speak without words. He hurried back toward the clearing. The forest loomed around him, but he kept his pace quick and steady. When he arrived, his heart lifted. The baby dragon was still there, still restless, still crying. Its wings twitched as if ready to take flight, but its body showed no strength to leave. Aaron stepped into the clearing again, this time holding the guitar close. The dragon saw the strange object and tilted its head. Its crying slowed for a moment, curiosity flickering in its eyes. Aaron lowered himself to the ground as before, careful to show no threat. He placed the guitar across his lap and touched the strings gently. The sound that came out was soft, simple, and low. The night seemed to pause as the first notes filled the air. The baby dragon stopped moving for a moment. Its glowing eyes blinked again. The sparks from its mouth faded into smoke. Aaron strummed another chord, this time longer, letting the tone linger. The sound of the guitar mixed with the hum of the forest, creating something calm and steady. For the first time that night, the restless cries did not come. Aaron felt hope rise inside him. Perhaps this was the answer. Perhaps music, a gift of humanity, could cross even the distance between man and dragon. The guitar's first notes floated into the night like ripples on water. Aaron played slowly, each chord gentle and steady. His fingers moved with care, not rushing, not forcing the strings. He wanted the sound to feel natural, like a breeze moving through leaves. The baby dragon tilted its head, the glow in its eyes softening as the strange sound reached its ears. For the first time since Aaron had found it, the dragon did not cry. Its body was still tense, but its restless movements began to ease. The wings that had twitched constantly now rested against its sides. Aaron felt his heart lift. He had no idea if the music would work, but the reaction gave him hope. He strummed another soft pattern, letting the notes stretch out into the clearing. The sound of the guitar blended with the natural hum of the forest, almost as if the world itself was joining his music. The little creature lowered its head onto the grass, watching Aaron closely. Its chest still rose and fell quickly, but the sparks from its mouth had faded into nothing. Aaron kept his eyes on the dragon as he played. His mind traveled back to the nights on Earth when he had played this same guitar for his younger sister, who could not sleep without hearing music. Back then, he believed the guitar's sound carried a kind of warmth that words could not give. Tonight, far from Earth, he saw that same warmth reaching across a gap between species. He changed the tune slightly, playing a soft melody that carried both rise and fall, gentle like waves on a calm sea. The dragon's head slowly sank lower, its tail loosening from the tight curl around its body. Aaron smiled quietly. His breathing steadied, and the fear that had weighed on him began to lift. Minutes passed in silence except for the steady sound of the strings. The forest seemed to grow still, as though even the trees listened. Small glowing insects hovered above the grass but did not disturb the scene. Aaron noticed that the dragon's eyes began to blink slower, heavy with drowsiness. He whispered softly, not expecting the words to be understood but hoping the tone would carry peace. "Rest now, little one. You are safe." The dragon shifted slightly, giving a small chirp that sounded more like curiosity than fear. Aaron answered with another calm tune, plucking the strings lightly. The notes danced in the air like drops of rain. Slowly, the restless creature tucked its wings closer and lay flat on the grass. Its breathing slowed, its eyes half closed, and its small claws released their grip on the soil. Aaron felt wonder growing inside him. He was a simple mechanic, not a scientist or a hero, yet in this moment he had reached across a wall of difference using nothing but music. The thought filled him with quiet pride. He realized that the dragon trusted the sound, even if it did not know the meaning behind it. As the creature settled, Aaron allowed himself to relax. His fingers kept moving, playing softer now, almost like a lullaby. He wanted to keep the peace unbroken. Each note was chosen with care, making sure the melody remained calm. The night air cooled around him, and the stars overhead seemed brighter. Aaron lifted his eyes to the sky for a brief moment and thought of Earth. Somewhere far away, other humans lived their daily lives without knowing that here, on a distant world, one man was playing a guitar for a baby dragon. The idea made him smile. Humanity's strength was not only in machines or weapons. Sometimes it was in simple acts of care. The dragon gave a soft sigh, its body glowing faintly as the last traces of fear faded. Aaron continued to play, watching in amazement as the creature's eyes finally closed. Its breathing became steady, deep, and calm. It had fallen asleep to the music of a human. Aaron felt relief wash over him. The cries had stopped, the restless movements gone. He looked at the peaceful dragon, feeling a bond he could not fully explain. He had not spoken its language, yet somehow he had been heard. He lowered the guitar slightly, letting the final notes fade into the quiet night. He did not stop entirely, for he feared silence might wake the creature again. Instead, he plucked light strings, letting them hum faintly, like a whisper. His hands moved almost without thought, guided by memory and instinct. Time slipped by, though Aaron did not care to measure it. He kept his focus on the sleeping dragon. The ground beneath him was uncomfortable, his back ached, but none of it mattered. What mattered was the small life resting peacefully beside him. For a brief moment, he allowed himself to wonder. If this was a baby dragon, then surely it had a family. Where was its mother? Was she near? Was she searching? He pushed the thought away, choosing not to let worry break the calm. Right now, the young one needed peace, and he was determined to give it. The clearing held a silence filled only with gentle guitar notes. Aaron sat steady, his fingers never tiring, his eyes watching over the sleeping dragon. In that moment, he felt more than a mechanic. He felt like a guardian, chosen by chance but held by choice. As the night stretched on, Aaron realized something important. The guitar, an old object from Earth, had become more than an instrument. It had become a bridge between two worlds, between man and dragon. He understood now that sometimes the smallest actions carried the greatest meaning. And so, beneath the starlight and among the glowing trees, a human mechanic and an alien dragon shared a fragile peace, bound not by words but by music. The night deepened, and the stars above shone like silver sparks scattered across a black sea. The forest hummed with quiet life, but inside the clearing there was peace. Aaron sat on the ground with the guitar in his lap, watching the baby dragon sleep. Its scales still shimmered faintly in the soft glow of the lamp, and its breathing rose and fell in steady rhythm. The creature that had once cried in fear now looked calm and safe. Aaron felt tired, yet he dared not close his eyes. He knew this moment was fragile, like glass that could break with the smallest wrong move. He plucked the strings gently, not to play a full song but to keep a soft sound in the air. The notes rolled out like whispers, enough to comfort but not enough to disturb. As he played, he thought about what had happened. He had walked into the forest to answer a strange cry, and now here he was, sitting beside a sleeping dragon. If someone at the outpost told this story tomorrow, nobody would believe it. People would laugh and call it a dream. Yet Aaron knew this was real, and he felt the weight of it in his chest. The baby stirred and gave a small chirp in its sleep. Aaron paused, worried it would wake, but the creature only stretched its wings slightly before resting again. He smiled softly, relieved. He had never been close to anything like this before. Machines were predictable. They broke, they could be fixed, and their parts never surprised him. But this was life, full of unknowns, and yet it had trusted him enough to rest. Aaron leaned back against a tree trunk, still keeping the guitar ready. His eyes studied the small dragon with care. He noticed details he had missed before. The scales were not only shiny but seemed to shift colors with the angle of light. The wings looked fragile, almost too small for flight, yet carried a hidden strength. The claws were sharp, but they curled inward as if unused to fighting. This was truly a young creature, one that had not yet learned the dangers of the world. A thought pressed into his mind. Where was the mother? If this was a baby, surely it had a family. Aaron felt unease creep into his stomach. A parent of such a creature would be far larger and far more dangerous. The idea made him glance around the trees, listening for any movement. But the forest remained calm. No heavy steps, no beating wings, only the soft rustle of leaves. He told himself not to worry. If the mother was near, perhaps she would see that he meant no harm. The guitar kept singing under his fingers, a tune from long ago. Aaron remembered the night he first learned this melody. His father had shown him how to play it, saying it was a song for peace. He had carried it with him ever since. Now, on a world far from Earth, that same song had become a bridge between human and dragon. The thought filled him with quiet pride. The baby dragon moved again, but this time it opened its eyes slightly. Its glowing gaze rested on Aaron. For a moment, he froze, unsure if it would cry again. Instead, it gave a soft chirp, almost like a question. Aaron answered with a calm chord, smiling gently. The creature blinked slowly, its body still relaxed. Aaron felt his chest warm. The connection was real. Carefully, he stretched out his hand toward the grass, not touching the dragon but resting his palm open where it could see. The dragon tilted its head, studying him. It did not move closer, yet it did not turn away. That small acceptance was enough. Aaron kept his hand steady, showing patience. Minutes passed in silence, broken only by music. Slowly, the dragon's tail shifted and brushed against the grass near his hand. It was not quite touching him, but it was close. Aaron felt a thrill of wonder. This small act meant more than words. The dragon was allowing him near, even if only by chance. He whispered softly, "You are not alone now. I am here." The dragon's breathing slowed once more, and its eyes drifted shut again. Aaron lowered his hand gently and returned to playing, his heart full of strange joy. He had never expected to feel this close to something so different. He thought of all the explorers and scientists who dreamed of human and alien understanding. None of them would imagine that such understanding might begin with a tired mechanic and an old guitar. The night stretched onward. The lamp's glow began to fade as its power ran low, but the starlight above was enough to guide the scene. Aaron sat in the cool air, his music carrying into the forest. He no longer felt fear, only a sense of duty. This fragile piece must be protected, no matter how long the night lasted. In that clearing, under the watchful stars, a bond had begun to form. It was fragile, yes, but real. A human and a dragon had shared trust without words, and that trust grew stronger with every note of the guitar. Aaron did not know what tomorrow would bring. He did not know if others would ever understand what happened here. But he knew one truth. The baby dragon had chosen to rest beside him, and that choice was enough. The night had grown colder, yet Aaron hardly noticed. He sat in the clearing with the guitar resting on his lap, still strumming soft notes to keep the peace around him. The baby dragon lay curled on the grass, its breathing slow and steady. Every now and then, it shifted its wings or gave a soft chirp, but it always settled quickly as the music flowed. Aaron thought the forest felt strangely calm. The usual hum of insects and calls of night creatures had grown quiet. It was as if the woods were listening too. He kept his fingers moving on the strings, but deep inside, his senses stirred with unease. Something unseen was present. In the shadows of the tall trees, far beyond the circle of light from Aaron's lamp, a vast figure stood still. The figure's eyes glowed faintly, golden and watchful. The mother dragon had found her lost young. She had followed the sound of its cries across the forest until she reached this clearing. Now she waited, hidden, her great wings folded against her back, her body larger than a human shuttle. The mother's heart rumbled with fierce power, ready to protect. Yet what she saw confused her. A human knelt near her child, not with fire or weapon, but with a strange object that made sounds unlike anything she had heard. The music floated through the air like a river, and her child, once restless, now slept peacefully beside the human. Aaron felt the hairs on his neck rise. He could not see the watcher, but he sensed something was near. His instincts told him to leave, but another part of him whispered to stay. Running now could break the fragile peace. He chose to trust his music, keeping the notes calm and gentle. The mother dragon stepped forward slightly, her movement as silent as drifting smoke. Her eyes fixed on her child, then on the human. She was ready to strike if harm came, but the scene before her made her pause. The child was safe. The child was calm. And the sound coming from the human's instrument carried no threat. Aaron looked toward the trees, his heart beating fast. At first, he thought the glow he saw was another trick of the forest lights. But then the shape formed, tall and wide, wings stretching like sails. His breath caught in his throat. He realized what stood there, half hidden in shadow. The mother. Fear ran through him like ice, yet he did not move. He kept his hands on the strings, steady as stone. One wrong motion could end everything. He thought of the baby dragon beside him and knew he could not abandon it. If the mother saw his fear as danger, all would be lost. So he played on, letting the music rise and fall like waves, each sound carrying his intent of peace. The baby stirred as if sensing its parent nearby. It lifted its head weakly and gave a soft chirp toward the trees. Aaron saw the glow in the shadows brighten as the mother stepped closer. The ground shook faintly under her weight. She moved slowly, her massive form entering the edge of the clearing. Aaron's chest tightened. She was magnificent and terrifying all at once. The mother's scales shone like burnished stone, darker than her child's but glowing faintly where the starlight touched. Her eyes were deep pools of firelight, watching every movement of the human who dared sit so near her young. She gave a low rumble, a sound that vibrated through the ground. Aaron felt it in his bones. He wanted to speak, but words felt useless. The dragon would not understand his language. Instead, he did the only thing he could. He continued to play. The tune was calm, respectful, and steady, a song meant to show he was no enemy. His hands shook slightly, but he forced his fingers to keep moving. The baby dragon chirped again and nestled closer to Aaron, as if showing the bond they had shared. The mother tilted her head at the sight, confusion and caution mixing in her gaze. She did not understand the human's strange tool, but she could see its effect. The restless child had found peace in its presence. Aaron lowered his eyes briefly, a gesture of respect. He dared not stand, dared not move too quickly. He let the music speak for him. His mind repeated the same thought: show no threat, show care, show trust. The mother's great head lowered closer to the ground. Her breath rolled out in a hot wind that ruffled Aaron's hair. She sniffed the air, testing the scent of this human. Aaron's hands trembled, but the guitar did not fall silent. Each note rang clear in the night. Long moments passed, heavy and tense. Aaron felt as though the stars themselves waited. Finally, the mother gave a deep rumble again, but this time it carried less danger. It was not a growl of attack but a sound of recognition. She moved closer to her child, who pressed its head against her side with a soft chirp. The sight filled Aaron with relief. The mother looked once more at the human. Her eyes narrowed, but she did not strike. Instead, she turned her great head slightly, as if marking him in memory. Then she folded her wings tighter and lowered her body beside her child. The clearing trembled as she settled, her presence filling every corner. Aaron dared not stop playing. He strummed softer now, like a lullaby for both child and mother. His fear remained, but so did his resolve. Tonight, he had crossed a line few humans had ever crossed. He had been judged not by words or strength, but by music and trust. And though danger was still close, he felt that perhaps the mother had chosen, for now, to let him be. The clearing had changed. What was once a quiet circle in the forest now felt like the heart of a storm, even though the air was still. Aaron sat with his guitar, the baby dragon beside him, and the mother towering just a few steps away. Her golden eyes glowed like embers, fixed on the strange human who dared sit near her child. Aaron's heart pounded, yet his hands did not stop. His fingers moved over the strings, pulling soft notes into the air. The music trembled at first, but slowly steadied. He knew one truth: if he showed fear or ran, it would all end in disaster. So he let the song speak for him. The baby dragon chirped happily and pressed closer to him, as if to prove that the human was a friend. The mother tilted her head, confused by the sight. Her instincts told her to drive away any threat near her young, yet here was her child resting safely beside the stranger. She gave a low rumble, deep as thunder, and lowered her massive head toward Aaron. The ground shook as she leaned close. Aaron felt the heat of her breath wash over him, heavy and warm. Every muscle in his body screamed to move, but he forced himself to stay still. His hands continued their work on the strings, each note carrying calm intent. He lowered his gaze slightly, showing he was not a rival. The mother studied him for long moments. Her nostrils flared as she tested his scent. She could smell no blood, no fear-driven sweat, only the strange scent of metal and oil that clung to him from his work. He was different from hunters or soldiers she had seen before. Aaron whispered softly, though he knew she would not understand the words. "I mean no harm. Your child is safe with me." His tone was low, steady, a voice meant to match the calm of his guitar. The baby dragon gave a chirp again and brushed its tail against Aaron's arm. The touch surprised him, but he did not flinch. He strummed a brighter chord in response, almost like an answer. The baby purred softly, a sound like crackling firewood. The mother's eyes narrowed, and her great head moved even closer until it hovered only a breath away from the human. Aaron felt his body tremble. He could see each scale along her jaw, each glowing line of her eyes. He wondered if this was the end, if she would open her mouth and burn him to ash. Yet instead of fire, she released another deep rumble. It was not a growl this time. It was a test. Would he break under her presence? Would he show weakness? Would he prove unworthy of the fragile trust her child had given? Aaron answered the only way he could. He kept playing. His song shifted, rising gently into a tune that carried strength but not threat, warmth but not fear. He thought of the nights he had played for his sister, the way he had promised to protect her from storms. That memory filled his fingers, and the music grew steady and strong. The mother listened. Her child leaned against the human and closed its eyes, soothed once again. The sight made her pause. Her instincts battled within her. To allow another near her child was against every rule of survival, yet here was proof that this human had brought peace where there was once fear. Aaron's hands ached, but he did not stop. His back was stiff, his throat dry, but he kept the melody alive. At last, the mother pulled her head back slightly. She did not strike. She did not roar. Instead, she gave a single sharp huff of breath, a sound that carried both warning and recognition. Aaron exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. He understood. She was telling him that she saw him, that she judged him, and that for now he was allowed to stay. But he also understood that this was not full trust. It was a test. If he failed, the mercy she showed would vanish. The baby shifted again and curled near Aaron's legs, small sparks flickering harmlessly from its mouth. The mechanic smiled faintly and played softer, letting the tune sink into a lullaby once more. The mother folded her wings and lowered her body onto the ground. Her great form surrounded them both like a wall of stone and fire. Aaron realized she was not only testing him but watching closely how he treated her young. The forest remained silent. Time passed slowly, but Aaron held his place. Each moment felt longer than the last, yet with every passing minute, the bond between him and the baby grew clearer. The mother saw it too. She could not deny what her eyes told her. At last, she closed her eyes halfway, not fully resting but easing her guard slightly. It was not full trust, but it was a step. Aaron understood the meaning. He had passed the first trial. Still, he knew his place. He was only a guest in their world, and his survival depended on respect. He lowered his head toward the mother dragon, a silent bow, then lifted his guitar again and let the strings carry his promise. The clearing held no fear now, only fragile peace. A human mechanic had faced the test of a dragon mother and endured not with strength or weapons but with music and patience. The night was not yet over, and the final trial had not yet come, but for now, Aaron remained safe beneath the watchful eyes of the great mother dragon. The night stretched long in the clearing. The stars shone bright above, silver light filtering through the tall trees. The forest was calm, yet a strange tension still lived in the air. Aaron sat with his guitar on his lap. The baby dragon was curled beside him, breathing soft sparks that glowed and faded with each tiny snore. Across from them, the mother dragon kept her golden eyes half open, watching every move the human made. Aaron knew this was not the end. He had survived her test, but he had not yet earned her trust. The mother dragon was powerful and wise. She would never accept a stranger near her child without a final judgment. He placed his hand gently on the strings, letting a soft tune flow into the air. The sound was not for the baby this time. It was for her. The notes rose slow and steady, carrying weight and respect. Aaron thought of all he wanted to say, and though he had no shared language with the dragon, he believed music could carry what words could not. The mother dragon raised her head slightly. Her golden eyes fixed on him. The sound of the guitar filled the clearing, steady as a river, calm as wind over the grass. The great beast listened, unmoving, her gaze sharp and unblinking. Aaron felt sweat run down his back, but he kept playing. He wanted her to feel that he was not a thief, not a hunter, not an enemy. He wanted her to understand that he had only answered the cries of her child. Each note carried that truth. Suddenly the mother dragon stood. Her wings stretched wide, blocking the stars above. The ground shook under her weight. Aaron stopped playing for a moment, his breath caught in his throat. The baby dragon stirred awake, blinking in confusion. The mother gave a deep call, a roar that shook the air but held no fire. It was a sound of command, a demand for proof. Aaron understood. She wanted more than calm music. She wanted to see if he would still stand firm when the ground trembled under her strength. He lifted the guitar again. His fingers struck the strings with new force, bringing out a bold tune, no longer soft but steady and proud. The baby watched him, chirping happily. The mother listened, her massive wings still spread, her eyes burning bright. For a long moment the clearing became a stage of challenge. A human with a small wooden instrument faced a dragon whose body could crush stone. Yet the human did not back down, and the dragon did not strike. The music grew deeper, carrying not only calm but courage. Aaron remembered every hardship he had faced, every long night fixing broken engines under cold stars, every moment when he had refused to give up. He poured that memory into the song, and the sound became a voice of human strength. The baby dragon gave a joyful cry and pressed against him once more. Sparks danced in the air. The mother lowered her wings slowly. Her gaze softened, though her power still radiated like heat from a fire. She stepped closer until her shadow covered both Aaron and her child. Aaron stopped playing at last. He set the guitar down and looked up at her. He did not run. He did not hide. He only waited for her judgment. The mother lowered her head. Her golden eyes came level with his. For a breathless moment, Aaron thought it might be the end. But instead of flame or teeth, she touched her nose gently against the ground near his feet. It was not submission, but it was recognition. Aaron understood. She accepted him. Not as family, not as equal, but as someone who had shown respect and care for her young. It was more than he could have hoped for. The baby chirped happily, running in small circles before curling up between them both. The mother gave a deep rumble, softer than before, almost like a sigh of relief. She folded her wings, lowered her massive body to the ground, and watched as her child leaned against the human once more. Aaron smiled faintly. He picked up his guitar and strummed one last gentle tune. The forest around them seemed to listen. The stars above shone brighter, and the air carried peace. The mother closed her eyes halfway, no longer in suspicion but in rest. The baby yawned and pressed its head against Aaron's arm. He continued to play until the little one drifted into sleep again. The night passed without danger. For the first time, there was trust in the clearing. A bond had formed, fragile but real, between human and dragon. As dawn's light touched the treetops, Aaron stood slowly. He placed his guitar over his back and bowed his head toward the mother dragon. She opened her eyes, golden light meeting his steady gaze. There was no anger in her look now, only quiet warning and distant respect. Aaron knew he could not stay forever. This was their world, not his. But he also knew he would carry this night with him always. The song he played was no longer just music. It was a bridge between two very different lives. He took one last look at the baby dragon, still curled in peaceful sleep, then turned to leave the clearing. The mother did not stop him. She only watched in silence, as if marking the memory of the human who had calmed her child with nothing more than strings and courage. As Aaron stepped back into the forest, he felt lighter. He had faced fear, he had earned respect, and he had walked away not as a threat but as a reminder that even in a vast and wild universe, humanity carried something unique. Not weapons, not strength of claw or flame, but the simple power to connect through music, patience, and heart. That was the gift he had offered. That was the gift the dragon had accepted. And so, the story of a mechanic and his guitar became one more tale whispered beneath the stars.